thank you for joining us. Obviously, we are going to be talking about Sonic the Hedgehog and how we are celebrating his 30th birthday this year. I'm joined by a number of writers and artists for Sonic comic projects with a special focus on what we are doing for the 30th. So, first off, we have Gail Galligan, New York Times bestselling cartoonist, working on the Babysitters Club graphic novels.
Hey.
Ian Flynn, 15-year Sonic the Hedgehog veteran writer.
I can't outrun the little blue hedgehog. He keeps dragging me back.
Bricardi Curry, who has run the gamut as a cover artist, a colorist, a penciler and inker, and a full-line artist on both the Sonic the Hedgehog ongoing and the 2020 annual.
I am a Swiss Army knife.
Another person who's pulling a lot of duties in Evan Stanley, who is the current writer and one of the artists on the ongoing series.
Hi.
And the manager of licensing for Sega of America, Mike Cisneros.
Hey, everybody. Good to see y'all again.
So, before we get into the specifics of what we're working on, let's take a moment to talk about Sonic. He's been around for 30 years. If everyone wouldn't mind, could you tell us a little bit about what Sonic means to you personally and your experiences with him over the past 3 decades? We'll start in the same order we did the lineup with. So, Gail, do you mind going first?
Oh my gosh, of course. I cannot believe Sonic is so aged and yet still looks gloriously young. I'm a little bit jealous. And I have so many fond memories of Sonic. I did get a chance to play a lot of the games growing up, but he was always there in my life. I still remember my sister and I going to our local video rental and pulling out the Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie. I'm so sorry to my parents. We quoted that back and forth for weeks afterward. You might know everything I'm going to do. I'm sorry. But I am just so delighted to contribute to such an iconic series I've been a fan of for a very long time.
Ian, what about you?
As we've established, Sonic is kind of my life. He's literally taken up almost 50% of my time on this spinning blue rock. That's as cool and blue as he is, if we're going to throw quotes around. It was the first game that I really got into when my dad brought home the Sega Genesis out of the blue. I'm not counting the Atari games. They don't count. And I've just, it's been an honor and a privilege to work with Sonic in so many different mediums and to be with it for so long.
Picardi?
Yeah, just to piggyback off what Ian and Gail said earlier. Played the games really early on in my life. I had Sonic Mega Collection, even though I'm 24 now. I still grew up with the older games. But since then, it's been just like a slippery slope when it came to just enjoying Sonic and just loving everything about him.
What about you, Evan?
Yeah, well, I got into Sonic a little bit later than a lot of folks. I really came of age with the franchise because I got in when I was 14 and I got really involved with the fandom, and it was the games were good, but what it really hit for me was as a creative outlet in interacting with the fandom and creating my own fan works, which led me to start want to work in comics in the first place, and it's how I chose my major at college. It's really become a super integral part of my life, and I'm really happy that I get to be here and keep helping out.
Mike?
Right. Well, I mean, like a lot of people, I guess I started off back in the early 90s with Sonic. My first one was on a Game Gear. That was my first introduction to Sonic. So a lot of people were on the Genesis, and I was a handheld kid at the time. And then, of course, lately, I've been with Sega for almost 6 years now. So I've been kind of, Sonic's been very much a part of my life. Literally 10, 12 hours a day, I'm living and breathing Sonic. So, Sonic keeps my bills paid. So thank you, Sonic.
I think that's a lot of different ways of getting into Sonic and having Sonic sort of be this fixture in everyone's lives. I think it speaks to the fact that Sonic has been around for 30 years because he is so global and so beloved across mediums. You know, I think our viewers are people who have come into Sonic from the games, from the many shows, from the previous comics. What do the rest of you sort of think makes Sonic such a fixture in pop culture? Why is he so ever present and appealing to people across generations?
For me, one of the biggest draws is Sonic as a franchise has been a lot of different things to a lot of different people, which it spans a variety of genres. So it's like there's things anyone can find that they like there, as well as having super solid roots in not only a really beautifully designed game, but also the influences from classic 1920s, 1930s animation in the art design that has just given it such a strong, appealing core.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Like, that design is so deeply memorable. Like, if you show anybody Sonic, they're gonna know, like, even if they can't remember his name, they will know exactly who he is. And I think that's a big part of it, in addition to just like, he's what Sonic is almost aspirational for kids. Like, oh, this is the coolest kid. I would love to get that. I would love to eat this chili dog. Like, I definitely, you know, I definitely kind of look up to Sonic's like core character in a way, and I think a lot of people identify with that.
Yeah, I would say one of the things that I've noticed also, just being so on the brand lately, is just been like Sonic brings people together too. It's not just the character. It's like that core community of Sonic fans is very tight knit. Like it's insane how passionate that bunch of people are. You know, they were able to get a movie design changed, for God's sake. You know, those guys are they're an awesome bunch of people, and they really care a lot about this character. And you know, that comes off in everything that we try to do. We try to make sure we're servicing those guys too.
I think he's cool. I think a lot of people just like the color blue.
I think that is sort of an interesting thing about a lot of the Sonic characters, which is they have, to your point, Ricardi, and to Evan's point earlier, they have a very simple sort of color coding and like visual style that makes them so appealing and so distinct. You know, Sonic is blue and Knuckles is red, and you can tell them apart whenever you see them. And also, you know, we get a lot of fan letters from like little kids, and you can tell which one's Sonic and which one's Knuckles, even if they are just literal like scribbles on a page, because they are that sort of essentially clear as characters.
Yeah, I've actually noticed that when I'm planning pages, I start with like a tiny drawing that's like 2 inches tall. And like I have visual shorthand for every Sonic character that is just a couple lines, but you can tell which one is which easily. And then like I'll go try to thumbnail some other project. I'm like, I can't tell any of these characters apart. This is terrible.
Wait, you thumbnail?
So we'll be talking more about it soon. Before the Classic Sonic 30th anniversary special that we're doing, Reggie Graham, who's one of our colorists, shared with us some color coding he did for characters who are coming up. And literally it's just, you know, dots of color to describe the characters. But even that was like, oh yeah, I know that that's Sonic. I know that that's Knuckles. I know that that's whoever. So yeah, it was very cool. What sort of special place do comics play to the Sonic brand and to Sonic's longevity? You know, how has the narrative ability of comics really helped, in your eyes, Sonic stay around?
It's kept him relevant and constant. You don't have to wait 3, 4, 5 years for his next adventure. You don't have to wait a whole year for the next season. You get a monthly adventure with Sonic, and then it's like, well, what happens at the end? It obviously lives on some kind of a cliffhanger. I want to know what happens next month, and I want to know what happens next month, and I want to know what happens next month. And oh, now there's a game, and now there's a new cartoon, and now there's a movie, and it's just, there's Sonic always everywhere.
Yeah, and building on that, also, it's like the comics, we get to do things that there isn't time for in the games that is still like really valuable, like story opportunities and characterization moments that we can totally monopolize on, and really fill in the gaps for people when they come to the games and they want more.
Yeah, and things flow the other way as well. If you're a Sonic mobile player, then you're probably playing the Sonic Forces Speed Battle game or Sonic Dash. Thank you.
You got it.
And you're playing with Tangle and Whisper, who are
Yeah.
It's great to like in just from our review standpoint, all the scripts and everything like that, those are reviewed by like Yukawa-san and Izuka-san and Hoshino-san and Toyota-san, all the major big guys on Sonic Team. So anything that they see in the books that they really like or connect with, there is that chance that it can get brought into the bigger franchise. And that's always like the really exciting thing about comics too. We get that monthly touch base with like all the people that love Sonic. They can interact with them on a regular basis, like Ian was saying. But there's also we can, like everyone's mentioned, we can draw on like what was done in the games, or we can add some new things. And sometimes those new things are so good that we want to bring them into the larger franchise, so more than the comic book readers can also enjoy those types of stories.
And then it ends up splitting off into various other mediums. And I know Bricardi and I are both wearing our IDW Sonic shirts.
Oh. Yeah, I love this shirt to death. I've worn it an embarrassing amount of times.
I, at this point, have enough that if I want to, I can wear a different Sonic shirt for every day of the week. And
Yep.
All right. So now let's talk specifically about the 30th anniversary special. It is an 80-page comic that is coming out this June. On the creative team, we have the lead story, Seasons of Chaos, by Ian Flynn, with art by Aaron Hammerstrom and Reggie Graham. We have Dr. Eggman's Birthday by Gail Galligan, with art by Thomas Roethlisberger and Natalie Fordrain. And finally, though they couldn't be here, the last story is Sonic Learns to Drive by Justin, Travis, and Griffin McElroy, and Mauro Fonseca. So, to sort of kick us off, Ian, do you want to tell us a little bit about what Seasons of Chaos is?
It's just fun. It is quintessential fun. If you watch the Sonic Mania Adventures cartoons, and you were delighted as I was at just how fun and lighthearted and accessible it was, this is basically a spiritual successor, a cousin of sorts. It's set in the classic world, so there's not a ton of melodrama, and we have a bunch of characters show up. I don't want to spoil it all, but when I was pitching it, I'm like, okay, who knows if we'll ever get another shot at the classic material. Let me see how many toys I can play with. It's like, okay, so we got Sonic and Knuckles and Tails and Amy. That's all cool. What if we added in Mighty and Ray? Yeah, okay, cool. What if we put in Metal Sonic? Yeah, okay, cool.
Oh my God.
What if we put in something else? What if we put in something else? What if we put in these guys? Oh, that all got approved? Sweet.
We love your crazy ideas, Ian. I mean, really, it's fun.
That's good because I have lots.
Ian, can you speak to the name of the book, Seasons of Chaos? Like, where does that come from?
I was trying to come up with a kind of general theme to carry the story along, something in the background just to give it a sense of cohesion and progression, just so it wasn't another just straightforward adventure. So the entire story is kind of framed in the idea of if this were a classic game, Mike, maybe pitch this to other people, and each zone that everyone goes through is themed around a different season of the year.
Not to give too much away, but one of those zones we will actually see again in Gail's story, Dr. Eggman's Birthday, because hey, it's not just Sonic's birthday, it's also 30 years of Dr. Eggman. Gail, can you tell us a little bit about what you're working on?
Absolutely, yeah. So I love Sonic, but honestly, I'm also very fond of this goofy villain. He just, he keeps on trying. I respect his persistence. He'll get him someday. But I figured, Eggman is kind of relatable to me as a human who is frustrated with things. And I felt like something that would be very difficult for him would be just that eternal, ticking of the clock. Once a year, he's reminded, oh, another year on this earth, and I still haven't gotten that blue hedgehog. Gosh, dag nabbit. So I wanted to kind of take a moment to, spend some time with this very frustrated character. Like, okay, it's his birthday. The closest people in his life, the badniks, maybe they try to make him feel a little bit better every year, but they're not really good at it. So it's a goofy, fun, silly story just about this one day in Eggman's life. I really hope you enjoy it because I had such a fun time writing it, and I've gotten to start to see some rough drawings. And I love working with other people. Thomas is incredible.
I think we are all very excited for it, and I'm worried that if we say anything more, we'll give a little bit too much away. But fortunately, while the classic Sonic the Hedgehog 30th anniversary special is out in June, it's not Gail's only Sonic work this year. And if you really enjoy Gail's work, you'll be extra glad because it'll be free. Gail is writing our Sonic the Hedgehog 30th special free comic book day issue as well, which again will have art by Thomas Roethlisberger and Natalie Fordrain. So Gail, can you tell us a little bit about the free comic book day story?
Hello again. Thank you for asking. Genuinely, this has been such a delight to work with you on. This free comic book day story will focus around Amy Rose. I love this character. She's the absolute sweetest. And I wanted to give her some time and space to be herself and maybe explore some new hobbies. What would happen if Amy Rose, like me, wanted to try her hand at drawing comics? Would she draw little autobio stories about her life? What would happen if somebody saw those? So it's just a really fun, goofy time that we get to see like things from her point of view. I absolutely love just going all out and talking about like the goofy way she would try to draw something. It's so much fun. I can't wait to see it finished.
Same. And I think that there's something, kind of extra fun about celebrating Sonic's 30th birthday with a Amy story about comics in comics, really tying together a lot of what makes Sonic so great. So you can pick that up on Saturday, August 14th, this year's free comic book day. But the fun doesn't end there. First off, I'd like to mention that there will be a special deluxe edition of the 30th anniversary special. This will be out in October in hardcover. It will collect the complete regular edition of the book from June, plus bonus content, including that free comic book day story, a cover gallery, a little from script comic feature working through the process of how comics get made, and a lot more that we can't just talk about yet. I'll also mention that coming in June is Sonic the Hedgehog, the IDW Collection Volume 1. This is the first in a new line of oversized hardcovers that will collect all of our Sonic comics in suggested reading order. So the first 12 issues are in this one. The stories Fallout, The Fate of Dr. Eggman, and The Battle for Angel Island. Evan, Ian, I know it's been a while since you guys worked on it, but can you tell us anything about what that sort of first year was like working on IDW Sonic?
I'm never going to forget that it all began with this big roundtable meeting with, the IDW crew and the Sega crew. It was this big, momentous occasion to get the book up and running. And I was sitting directly across from Izuka-san, and that already makes me nervous because, he's kind of Mr. Sonic. And the meeting starts up and we're talking and everything's going well. And then everyone kind of looks at me and says, okay, Ian, pitch the first year. And I'm like, now, me. I thought we were just going to review the notes. All right, Mr. Izuka-san. That's redundant. Oh, no. Here's what I'd like to do. And I pitched it right then and there. And we did it. So I guess I did a good enough job pitching it, but it was a lot of fun because it's another new take at comic adventures for Sonic, something kind of distilled to its purest essence, and just trying to have a lot of fun with what Sonic is and seeing all of the characters that make the franchise special and going just completely crazy with Neo Metal coming back and having Burning Blaze, blow up stuff. Tangle and Whisper joined the fray, who I had no idea that they were going to be as huge as they are. And I don't know, it's just one great, wonderful experience, start to finish. Although it hasn't really finished because we're still going. Just a good experience.
I remember working on my first issue, which I think was issue 4. And it was coming back to doing Sonic, and it's like I was really nervous because I hadn't been working with Sonic for a little while, and I was a little bit rusty. And I was like, oh geez, we're doing a new comic. I gotta make this good. And what really clicked for me was getting to meet Tangle and really getting to shape the way that she acts on the page as a new character with her own style. And that was what made the comic click for me, was figuring that out and getting to express that new character.
And then just a couple issues later, we had to do it again with Whisper. And then a couple issues later, we had to do it again with Dr. Starline. So yeah, it was a very eventful first year.
Yeah, that's a good volume to pick up, right?
It'll be a great way to get caught up if you're behind. And if you have read it already, well, it's still a great thing to pick up because it's all nice and in a hardcover with a new cover by Evan. And yeah, I think the pages are a little bit bigger than you've probably seen them before, so you can look in for even more detail. So, speaking of the ongoing series, that is also a big part of our 30th plans. Right now, we're doing the story Test Run, and Evan and Riccardi are both working on that. The first 2 issues should be out at this point. So, Evan, Riccardi, you want to tell us a little bit about what Test Run is?
Yeah, well, Test Run is a 4-part arc that is about Tails, Amy, and Sonic investigating this weird tower created by Dr. Eggman and getting trapped within it and running through this gauntlet of weird traps and tests that Eggman has prepared. While meanwhile, Tangle and Belle, a new character, are sabotaging the tower from the control side. And I think with issue 2, we're really starting to get into the meat of the story, and it really brings out the core of the story as well as kind of my intention for the season, which is telling these smaller, more self-contained arcs that have a really strong character interpersonal motivations as a contrast to our last 2 seasons, which were much more broad ensemble stories. So I'm hoping that with issue 2 and issue 3 of Test Run, we'll really start to get into the draw of that storyline. Oh, and it's fun to draw. I'm doing some of the drawing. Riccardi's doing most of it.
So what's that been like, Riccardi? This is your first time doing full line art on the ongoing series. Can you tell us?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Started out as a colorist for the series and just slowly worked my way up. Wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting myself to be doing it like this soon. I'm like, oh, just give it another year, maybe 2, maybe 3. But yeah, I just went straight in there, and it's been a blast. I've been learning a lot. Evan's story, I wasn't sure if I was able to pull it off because it's a lot of crazy stuff there.
Sorry.
But no, you're totally fine. But yeah, it's been a crazy roller coaster, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
It is a pretty twisty story in a lot of ways. So since 38 is out, can you tell me a little bit about what your favorite part to draw was of that?
Maybe the beginning part. Just the whole maze, conundrum, mechanical doohickey that Evan came up with. It was pretty cool to draw and just have the characters just interact with the space. Yeah, that's about it.
You did a good job making it very funky and exciting to read. So.
Thank you.
All right. And then after test run is over, Ian is returning for an arc called Zeddy Hunt. Ian, can you tell us a little bit about that?
At the end of the Metal Virus saga, the Deadly Six, who were just making everything worse, as they usually do, were defeated, but they weren't really dealt with. They were still spread all over the place. They were still active. And then in Bad Guys, we saw Zavok team up with a bunch of other villains. And while his plans, again, were foiled, he was still kicking. Hurt, but he's still on the move. So Zeddy Hunt is going to deal with the fallout of all that. Zavok has been beaten three times now. He is not happy about that. So he is out for revenge on the most epic of scales. And not in the usual Flynn fashion of let's blow everything up in a giant set piece. This is a much more personal, focused attack on his part. And how he messes with the heroes' heads and how it all kind of comes down to the wire is going to be a bit of a nail biter. And the tail end of it, he says, dancing on the line of spoiling things, is building off of everything that Evan has done so far and will kind of put us on the path for our big push to number 50.
That it
Yeah.
will.
So
Evan, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm really looking forward to the like 49-50 area that we're working up to, because it's really, we haven't done a story like this yet. It's a much more personal and focused than we've had with one of our big kind of like finale milestones for a season. And I'm really excited to see how Ian's arcs and my arcs kind of come together at this point. And it's like, hopefully it's good. I think it'll be good.
It's also interesting because as we get to number 50, though I don't want to get too far into things, it is sort of your first time, Ian and Evan, working collaboratively as writers rather than as writer and artist. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Everything is nerve-wracking for me. I'm always nervous, but this was really interesting because it's like I've never worked with Ian before, so I didn't know what his communication style would be for writing. And luckily, it feels like the ideas we were coming to the table with actually ended up meshing really well, and putting them together and reaching a compromise on like plot points actually went quite smoothly and was a lot of fun. And it's like we're communicating regularly, keeping each other updated on either story changes or how opportunities to further enmesh our related plot lines as we go along. And yeah, it's been really fun, and kind of, at least for me, this is a dream come true. I've been reading Ian stuff since I was like 15, 16 years old. It blew my mind.
Go ahead, keep talking.
And I learned how to write comics by reading his comics, no pressure. And so it's just really, really exciting and rewarding to be working with you directly.
A moment. And kind of off of that, there's been a great deal of mutual respect going into this. Evan may not have been writing as much, but we have worked together on a lot of Sonic projects over the years. Yeah. So I know that she knows the material, and it's not like, okay, do I have to help someone understand what we're doing? It's Evan. I trust her. I know she's going to do a great job with it. And since I got to do pretty much seasons 1 and 2, it's like, okay, Evan's driving now. Let Evan pitch the direction, let her tell the story, and I'll contribute here and there, but it's time that I step aside. Let me be a contributor to Evan's vision.
Really glad that I wasn't just thrown in there on my own, just like figure it out. I was like, Ian's still here. We're gonna be okay.
Well, also I have to thank you because we're wrapping up Metal Virus, and I'm like, what do I do for an encore? It's like, Evan's gonna do the encore. I don't have to think anymore. Good luck with that one.
So you can get caught up on those stories. Sonics 37 and 38 are on sale now. issues number 39 and 40, which will be coming soon. Finish up that test run story. 41 through 44 are the Zeddy Hunt. And then after that, we're in the Road to 50. It's going to be very exciting. Is there anything else Sonic related that you guys are excited for and can talk about so far for later this year and how you're celebrating his 30th anniversary?
I mean, we've got that thing planned.
Right.
That's going to be cool. And, you know,
Right.
it's part of our big push to number 50. But we can't talk about that yet.
Well, I mean, the Netflix show announcement went out, so that's really exciting. And you know, we did that reveal of the logo for the second movie, so there's some cool stuff that's kind of we can all look forward to, I think, you know. And then, you know, from our side, we're just there'll be some amazing things coming out later this year that I can't talk about what exactly it is, but we really just can't wait to show everybody, you know, what we have planned to celebrate, you know, 30 years of Sonic the Hedgehog. So we're thrilled. So I think everyone's going to be really pleased once the curtain is pulled open.
Same. There's a lot of exciting stuff happening for Sonic, and I think you're all going to be very happy. So, yet again, let me just say, the Sonic the Hedgehog ongoing series is available now wherever great comic books are sold. You can get it in print, you can get it digitally. Please support your local comic shop, but do it safely. And when you go into your store safely on August 14th for Free Comic Book Day, make sure you pick up your copy of the Sonic book. If you need to find your comic book store because you don't know where it is, check out comicshoplocator.com. And then keep an eye out for the Sonic the Hedgehog 30th anniversary special in June, as well as the IDW Collection Volume 1, which should be out in time just for Sonic's actual 30th birthday. And then for more updates on Sonic, follow IDW on Facebook and Twitter, and join the IDW Sonic Comic Squad Facebook group. So thank you to all of my guests for being here and for talking Sonic with us for so long.
Okay, I believe that is it for the panel. I know initially for the a panel that this was honestly pretty dang good what we just watched here. And again, as a person who is not all that familiar with the comics, I think this did a pretty good job. Sin, what was your initial reaction to the panel? Do you think it accomplished what it needed to accomplish?
Yeah, I think it did a good job summarizing everything that will be shown off inside of the 30th anniversary specials. And I really did like the fact that they showed off some of the panels for the comic. Even some of the panels that weren't even done, like the line art. Like, there was no color on it. It's really good. And I think it looks really, really good. And a lot of people are excited for it. They really like the art, and I think this is a good way to start off the 30th anniversary of Sonic with something small but also big at the same time.
Right. And I really liked how they started out and they were describing, you know, their how they became or how they got to where they are now. You could tell that these people behind the scenes at IDW are true fans. And I really do like that about them when they were describing, you know, their origins and how they you know, became the Sonic fans they were. There was some things I have in my notes here regarding some of the major things they talked about. You know, like they mentioned, Sonic's been around so long in a variety of genres, and his unique design, you know, appeals to everyone. Is there any thoughts you have regarding, you know, what they mentioned regarding how Sonic has been in so many genres and that's why he's so accessible to everyone?
I definitely agree with the fact that it's accessible to everyone because it has a lot of genres. It's really good because Sonic can work in many different ways, so that's why you see a lot of fan creations. And even though some of those fan creations are like straying away a lot from the games, there are a lot of, you know, fans of that fan creation, you know. And I really like I like darker tone Sonic stories. I like mystery Sonic stories. I like happy-go-lucky Sonic stories. I like all kinds of things of Sonic, and it's really fun. As long as it's like well written and it's fun to enjoy. It's just, I think that's all that matters. It's just really good.
Yeah, and I love like they mentioned that, and you can tell like they put Sonic comics in a different variety of areas. It's not always serious. There's some lighthearted stuff. There is some serious stuff. There is something really interesting I did want to talk about. Was what Mike said, that sometimes Sonic Team will review what they done in the comics, and if they like it enough, they may put them in the games, which leaves a lot of room for opportunities for both fans who are obviously fans of the comics, but fans who are mainly games, and gives them a reason to maybe pick up the comics. And honestly, I think I feel like I really do have that push now to pick up the IDW and to read, because if it's true that Sound Team may take inspiration from stuff from IDW, then I would love to see where the series is going game wise. And in fact, they mentioned Sonic IDW collection, where they had the first 12 issues in the collection. I think that'll be a great first step for me, and probably for other people who have not jumped into the IDW yet. I think that'd probably be a good way to just get the first 12 issues without having to track down every single issue, and to start there with the IDW collection. They also mentioned a good amount of things like Sonic learns to drive, which I think is hilarious. I think that leaves a lot of room for comedy. Sonic trying to learn how to drive kind of reminds me of the Sonic movie for some reason. They had Seasons of Chaos, which is going to have a bunch of characters show up. And this is something I wanted to bring up to you, Sin. This was mainly regarding classic characters. Do you think this may leave room for the hooligans to show up?
Yeah, definitely. When they said that they wanted to like go all out on this special, I think they might have meant characters like Mighty Ray, the Hooligans, maybe even Honey the Cat, like a bunch of classic characters, like as many classic characters as they can get their hands on that fans know and that they know fans will like. So a lot of fans are asking for Honey the Cat, or a lot of fans like the Hooligans or Mighty and Ray. So I definitely think they are going to bring them into the comic, and they will play a role in some way.
Right. And what I loved with what Gail mentioned is that she's going to be exploring Eggman on his birthday, which just sounds absolutely hilarious. And they also mentioned a free comic book day story, which focuses on Amy Rose. Do you have any opinions on that? Because they mentioned she might try like new hobbies, which I think is just interesting.
Yeah. One of the things they mentioned was that she's going to try drawing comics of her life, like of her adventures and things like that. And I think it's really interesting. And I think people should definitely pick that up when the day comes, which, I mean, it doesn't cost any money. Like, all you have to do is just go to a comic book shop, and if it does participate in Free Comic Book Day, which I'm pretty certain it will, you should be able to just get it for free and just walk out. It's a free comic. Like, why wouldn't you want that in its original story? It's not like a reprint or anything like previous, It's brand new, and I think that's really cool. And that's why I've been encouraging a lot of people lately to go to the comic book shop on August 14th of this year and get a free Comic Book Day Sonic issue.
Right. And I also, and for those that missed it, they will have a special edition for that comic. I'm sure that will probably cost money. It's a hardcover, and it has a lot of content to it. So I'm going to have an extra content, I believe they mentioned, regarding that one. They also had Test Run, which is going to be a 4-part arc about Amy, Tails, and Sonic. And I also saw when they were showing screenshots, they showed Belle and Tangled involved in some way. So for those that are interested in those new characters, especially Belle, I think you guys should definitely pick that up. Any thoughts on Test Run?
So this week, issue 38, which is part 2 of Test Run release, and it's really interesting so far because issue 37 was like really weird, but like in a cool way, because like during the end it had like all this crazy stuff, and it's like, wait, what in the world? And then this issue, they were focused on like going into like another place, and I thought it was really cool. And it was a place like you would recognize. Like if you play the games, you will recognize the place. And the art was really good too. Like Ricardo Curry did a fantastic job in the interiors. It's so good. I would love to see him do more interiors in the future.
Right. And sorry, I did not mean to say Tangled, chat. You guys are correcting me. I apologize. But they did show Belle and some of the new characters there. So my apologies. Thank you for the correction, chat. They also talked about Zeddy Hunt, which this is interesting. Ian focuses that, or was adamant that this is actually going to push the story for issue 50, which seems to be some sort of big conclusion to the arcs they've been having, and will further push the story. Any thoughts of the story regarding as they go closer to issue 50? Again, as someone who is not familiar with the story, what are your thoughts regarding the story and how they're leading up to 50 and how it could possibly wrap up?
I think it's gonna be pretty big. I don't have too much to say on it because
right.
I'm just waiting for like a bit more. Like I don't really say too much on stories by just solicitations. So I'm just waiting for something like preview pages, but I do think the lead up to issue 50 is going to be pretty cool because issue 50 will be a milestone issue. Like I think there even might have more pages in it too. Like they had some more pages in issue 25, which was also their first milestone issue. And it costed like $1 extra, but I think it was pretty worth it. It was a pretty quality issue.
Right. And I think one of the last things we could talk about, which was one of the last things they talked about, is they mentioned, things coming later this year. They mentioned Sonic Prime and Sonic the Hedgehog movie 2, which is in production right now. But they did mention they do have something else coming out later this year in celebration of Sonic's 30th that they cannot talk about yet. Now this is purely speculation at that point. There's not much information there, but I think this is an area that I'm more familiar in when it comes to, mainline stuff. My guess, chat, and this is all just speculation, is that it's probably not going to be a new mainline game releasing this year. Maybe an announcement. Again, all speculation, but, chat, and maybe even Sen, what do you guys think this might be? This unreleased thing they can't talk about to celebrate Sonic's 30th anniversary coming out later this year. What do you think this might be?
I think this year is going to be pretty big for Sonic, and next year too, because everything that went on last year pushed some things back. So it's going to bleed a bit into next year, but I think they're going to do a lot of stuff. Like I think they're going to do some crossovers, like mainly mobile games or like, games kind of like I'm afraid to say Fortnite because if I say Fortnite, I feel like I'm going to get destroyed on site. But possibly Fortnite. Who knows?
Might be. I think definitely, because again, I don't think it's going to be like, I don't think we're going to be expecting a new game. I think it might be too late for them to announce something and release it this year. But maybe an announcement, but we'll see. When it comes to them releasing something, it could be something simple as like a port, more comics, something small. Maybe even more animated stuff. We'll have to see. All speculation, but that's interesting that Mike kind of gave us that little snippet of information for us to look forward to. So you heard that, guys. They have something planned for the 30th. Stop freaking out and stop messaging me and emailing me. All right. So I think that's all there really is to talk about regarding this panel. Thank you guys so much for watching this. It was fun. Thank you so much to Ryan for giving me the opportunity to guest host. I apologize for any stuttering, stuff like that. I'm new to this. I'm sorry. Thank you so much to Sin for joining me. And correct me if I'm wrong, you are the co-owner for IDW Sonic News on Twitter, correct?
Yeah, me and my friend Toru, we both run IDW Sonic News on Twitter and Instagram.
Right. So for all the latest regarding IDW and Sonic the Hedgehog as a whole, please follow tailschannel.com, follow Tails Channel on Twitter, and follow IDW Sonic News on Twitter as well. If you guys want to see more of my face, my name is Sam Procrastinates. I am more of an opinionated Sonic tuber, not so much just pure news. So you can follow me on social media, YouTube, stuff like that. And with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. And I think that wraps it up for our special report for Tails Channel regarding this panel. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we will talk to you guys later. Bye.
See ya.